I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Full-size pickup trucks have become TFB, too friggin' big. You have to climb up into them, you have to slide down out of them, and good luck reaching anything in the bed. The automakers themselves know this, but they're in a macho arena where nobody wants to be the first to blink and downsize. And so we're seeing a renewal of the mid-size truck market. The Japanese never left it, and now the domestic automakers are bringing back the nameplates they discontinued a few years ago. And so at Ford, that means the Ranger is back. The Ranger comes in two configurations. The Super Cab has a 6-foot bed, it holds 4 people, and you have to open its front doors before you can open its small rear-hinged rear doors. The Super Crew, as I have here, has a 5-foot bed, it has 4 independently opening doors, and it holds 5 people. In Canada, all Rangers come strictly in 4x4 configuration. Each comes in 2 trim levels with prices starting at $30,969 for the base Super Cab XL and topping out at $42,289 for my top range Super Crew Lariat. Mine has a lot of options, one of them being a $3,000 stereo system that brings it to $49,409 before freight and taxes. Trucks sure ain't plain workhorses anymore. That's one thing with these mid-size trucks. Their price isn't proportionately smaller with their size. The least expensive full-size F-150 in 2-wheel drive and regular cab starts at just $830 more than a base Ranger. We tend to buy by the pound. If I pay this much, I want to get this much. So you have to look at it in terms of what you need. But think of it this way. If you prefer something that's easier to maneuver, easier to park, and easier to get in and out, you're not paying more to get something smaller. You're paying to get exactly what you want. All Ranger models carry a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which Ford calls EcoBoost, making 270 horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque. And it's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission borrowed from the F-150. This truck can scoot when you need it to do so. That said, towing or hauling can cut hard into your fuel economy when you're working that turbo. The Super Cab has a payload capacity of 1,650 pounds, while my heavier Super Crew can go up to 1,560. Towing capacity maxes out at 7,500 pounds on both. And here's a nice feature. As with the F-150, the Ranger's blind spot monitoring system includes the length of the trailer, so it's easier to make lane changes in traffic when you're towing. The Ranger is body on frame, and it rides and handles well. The steering is fairly quick and responsive, and the turning circle is very tight, so it's easy to spin this thing around. The 4-wheel system is part-time, and that means you should only put it in 4x4 when you're on loose surfaces. Running it on dry pavement can cause driveline and tire wear. My tester is equipped with the FX4 off-road package for $1,400. It adds a locking rear differential for the tough stuff, along with skid plates and all-terrain tires. There's also terrain management, which uses a button to let me switch between grass and gravel, snow, mud, or sand. Inside, the Ranger has very supportive seats, and you sit comfortably upright. One of my complaints about Toyota's Tacoma, the runaway bestseller in this segment, is that the floor is too high and the seat's too low, and so my legs straight out on the throttle and it gets cramped. Rear seat passengers get more space in the crew cab than in the club cab, naturally, but this is a smaller truck and so there's still a bit of a squeeze even in the bigger cabin. The rear seat cushions lift up so you can store items under them. The cabin design is simple and handsome. Some reviewers have said it looks a bit dated, but hey, it's a truck. I think it looks fine. The 8-inch center screen contains Ford's Sync system, including navigation on mine. It's an intuitive system and easy to use, but the screen can be slow to respond when it's cold. I could be a bit happier with the climate controls. You don't get a big dial, like the volume knob right above it, which I automatically grab every time, thinking it's logically the one for hot and cold. Instead, you get these fiddly little toggles, set down low in the center stack, and they're tough to hit accurately when you're wearing gloves. Sales of smaller pickup trucks run a distant second to full size, but as more choices hit the market, and each new generation of half-tons gets even more too friggin' big, trucks like the Ranger make even more sense. Until somebody making a half-ton finally blinks and scales back a bit, this new Ranger may be all the truck you need. For Driving.ca, I'm Jill McIntosh.